Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Leanna Senior Transition Support, specialists in downsizing and seniors residences.
And good afternoon. Welcome to Life Unrehearsed. My name is Matt Del Vecchio, specializing in life transitions, downsizing in the senior living industry.
And I'm Corey Sirota, clinical social worker and psychotherapist specializing in grief and loss.
Coming right up on the first half of today's show. You know, it's been a rough ride for many students during the pandemic. Well, there's a new app for schools that will help students assess their own mental health, and it could actually assess if they are at risk based on their responses. Really interesting stuff. So parents, you want to be listening. And to all the loyal CJD listeners, no, it's not Sunday. Life Unrehearsed has been moved from Sundays to Saturdays at 3 p.m. I'm in studio. We're really doing some physical distancing, Corey, aren't we? As you are in your home studio.
Exactly. If I sound like I'm in a wind tunnel, it's no. I'm recording or broadcasting from home because we are being safe and social distancing and being responsible.
Yeah, well,
that's how we have to do everything, Matt, these days.
Absolutely. Right. And, you know, when you talk about responsible, you have some very responsible, you've got an upcoming presentation, don't you?
I do. I'm, for those of you who don't remember, I am a grief, loss, and bereavement specialist. I'm offering a very special professional training workshop for mental health professionals on understanding childhood bereavement. And that's going to be on March 5th. And of course, I'm doing it virtually. And we would love, if you want more information, it'll be up on the Life Unrehearsed Facebook page, but love to have you join us if that's something you think you'd like to get more information about. At the same time, Matt, aren't you doing something?
Yeah, actually, Stephanie and I have a big presentation this Tuesday to the YMCA West Island branch about senior living options in the age of COVID. A lot of anxious times for those that may be considering a new living option. So we're going to be talking about that on Tuesday, 10 a.m. Again, virtually, Corey, like we need to do. That's at the YMCA West Island. Now, Corey, what do we have coming up on the second half?
So there's a question out there. Is it time to allow organized sports? Like, isn't it enough? Is enough enough? I don't know. So we're going to hear from a couple of parents and their athletic children who are really struggling with the lockdown, etc.
Yeah, you know, I can't wait for that. Based on the responses, Corey, that we've had on our Life Unrehearsed Facebook page, we just posted it a day or two ago, and it is a very, very hot topic. So that's going to be coming up after the 3:30 news.
So let's start getting right into it, as you like to say, Matt, with the first half. Dov Shapiro has been working with children for over 30 years as a director of Mad Science, West Coast Connection, and a former owner of Camp Chateaugay in New York. He's the founder and CEO of the Connect U program, which is a blended program that basically is learning solutions designed for improving student health and well-being for ages 12 to 18. And we are very fortunate to have Dov on the line with us. So welcome to the show, Dov.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So here's the question. What is the Connect U program?
The Connect U program is an app designed to improve student well-being through a really powerful metacognitive process. The first part is called the CUSA, or Connect U Student Assessment, which is our psychometric tool. And that's just a fancy word for an assessment. And it was developed to identify students who may be struggling with their mental health. And the results of the CUSA inform administrators and teachers not only where students are struggling potentially, but also where their strengths are and areas for improvement, of course. So it really helps teachers understand their students at a much deeper level. Yeah. And the second part is our intervention model, and that's called the CU SMART Goal Program. Now, SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And it's widely used in schools to teach children how to create and achieve academic and personal goals.
Dev, I love the fact that students are doing this assessment, their own assessment, to get the ball rolling here. So what's the value in that happening?
Well, there's been a lot of different types of student assessments over the last few decades throughout North America and even globally. There are different types of academic assessments that are done to identify where students need to, be taught perhaps in a different approach. And then there's different types of assessments like what we do, which helps to identify the students and actually create more of a profile. So it's a non-academic assessment that we do that allows the principals and teachers, administrators to understand their students at a very different kind of level. And it's a unique approach to really learn about their kids because you have so many students in class, first of all, that you need to learn about. And then with blended learning or hybrid learning or remote learning, it's even harder to learn about your students. So the value is really getting to know your kids just by having them do a 15-minute assessment online.
That's Dov Shapiro, who's the founder and CEO of Connect You program. I'm thinking, I'm old, and so I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, what's it called? Brave New World, 1984, or whatever that is about, Big Brother's watching you. So how can this idea that the administrators and teachers are going to get the insights from the students, how do you work around that the feeling of somebody's watching you?
I'm finding it a little bit hard to hear you, but I think you said something to the effect of how do the student assessments provide the insights? Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. How can the assessment provide insights to administrators and teachers?
Yeah. So it's an app that's done, or rather it's an assessment that's done through an app. And so schools implement the software. Students do assessments in class, or if they're doing remote learning, they do it at home. And schools choose from a palette of different constructs that they want to measure. A construct, for example, would be interpersonal skills, creativity, resilience, grit, leadership. And so they choose what they want to measure. And they'll typically measure the same constructs for the entire grade level. So, for example, we have right now 14 constructs that you can measure. So teachers, first principals choose, then students in class or at home, they'll respond to the items, which are questions, online, and their answers are immediately driven to a dashboard for administrators and teachers to review.
It's quite interesting, and you've got all these the constructs, I guess, all these topics, and I like that because it could really customize it for each student, and some may be stronger than other subjects, and quite interesting. So you mentioned, Dov, CU Smart, and what is that, and how does it work?
So the CU Smart is a way for teachers to teach goal setting to students. So in curriculums across North America and globally, at some point or another, students are required to learn how to create and achieve goals. And we know through research how impactful that process is for students. And so the acronym SMART became very popular over the last few decades because it's a simple way to teach kids how to create goals by using this acronym. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And so the way this part of the program works is students, through an app, will create goals and action items. But before they do that, they actually go through a curriculum in class. So we offer a 6-week curriculum that includes 2D animated videos. There's actually 2 videos for each class, so a total of 12 videos. And students sit in class with their teacher. They go through different types of exercises. They learn about the curriculum. They understand what SMART means. They create goals. They create action items. And then we include an accountability partner, which actually the student chooses. And we know how accountability helps students further achieve, create goals. So the accountability partner is typically 21 or older. They could be a mentor or coach, family member, and must be approved by the parent. So all of that is done through the app itself. So students send out requests for that, and then through the accountability and through the web app, so using your Goal Buddy and using your web app through the curriculum, students create goals and action items and achieve their dreams.
That's Dov Shapiro. He's the founder and CEO of ConnectU. We are talking with him about a very interesting app. I want to ask you further to explain, and I hope you can hear me now, how the ConnectU program helps to improve students' metacognitive skills.
So metacognition is the ability to examine how you process thoughts and feelings, or thinking about thinking. And it really helps to develop self-awareness skills. So the way our program initiates that is through the process of self-regulation. Students develop metacognitive skills by using goal setting and self-regulation in the CU SMART. It's part of the whole process where you use different types of what we call self-reflection checklists at different aspects or times when you're creating goals or action items. So every time you create a goal, you're supposed to wait 24 hours and you reflect on it, just like you would reflect on after you've created a paper or a book report. You want to think about it the next day, give yourself some time, and perhaps make some changes, make some revisions, make some edits. And that's self-regulation. So in addition to that, when you achieve or you miss a deadline on an action item or a goal, you're supposed to wait 2 to 4 hours afterwards and think about, self-reflect, how you could have made a change, how you could have done things differently. And this helps you in the next time that you're creating your goal or your action item to improve on it. And then when you achieve your goal or your action item, in the same vein, you're supposed to wait a few hours and think about what you did, think about what you accomplished. And through the process of reflecting, students are self-regulating, and students develop metacognitive skills when they self-regulate.
It makes a lot of sense, to have them, and it's unique. You don't usually see that. It gives them time to self-reflect and so on. And we're talking with Dov Shapiro, founder and CEO of the ConnectU program app. Very interesting. Now, Dov, we have to head out to traffic, but you've already had quite a bit of some impressive results with this, and we want to hear some of the most significant impacts you've had on the program to date.
Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Leanna Senior Transition Support, specialists in downsizing and seniors residences.
We are talking to Dov Shapiro, the founder and CEO of ConnectU, a learning solution designed for improving student well-being for ages 12 to 18. Dov, I want to know, you've been following this program, you created this program, you're working with this program. What do you know about the impact of this program so far to date?
Well, students are creating and achieving more goals than they did before. And that impact alone is enormous. So imagine when students create and achieve goals, they become more confident. They develop resilience. And so that helps to improve student well-being. So teachers find that, one, they can learn about their students in a deeper way. And for them, that's a huge benefit, especially given blended or hybrid learning being so challenging for them. And it also empowers teachers to set goal setting, which is, in many cases, it's a standard in curriculums, depending on what grade you're in or which class you're in. So it's making it easier for them to teach it. And so in combination, it's having an impact on students and teachers as well.
And it's nice to see, having that impact. And Dov, I want to back it up a little bit because, there's a lot of parents listening now. And, it's really strange how things are going these days. When cases are going lower, hospitalizations are lower, you get this sentiment that there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but we're not quite there. We still got a few months ahead of us. And this is really the grind time. But I also find it's challenging for a lot of people, and students in particular. You know, some of them are now getting into midterms and so on. So parents see that in their students. Some are stressed and some are perhaps dealing with significant mental health issues now more than ever. So what would you advise parents if they see, you know what, boy, oh boy, my son or my daughter is really not doing well, worse than what is normal? What would you advise parents to do?
That is a $1 million question. We've been working on an initiative for youth mental health for over a year now, which is another interview we can have at another date. Right. But I think one of the greatest things that we can do for children is to normalize what's going on around us and allow children to understand that it's okay to not be okay. And things that parents are telling me include avoidance, meaning they're avoiding discussions that are very negative in front of their children because they understand that that's impacting their kids and their kids' mental health. So I think a lot of parents are being really proactive to ensure that the house stays very positive, and we look forward to when we're going to have a normal life again, so to speak. So it's okay to not to be okay, and try to keep as focused as we can on all the great things that we do have in our life, and to be thankful for the health and the wellness that we do have in our home and the love that we share.
No question, Dov. I hear you. I know we asked you. It's a tall order to try and come up at like you said, the $64,000 question around how do we help our youth with mental health issues. And I think that this is one really creative and important initiative. I'm curious about, could you speak to about perhaps how would someone get trained in maybe kids don't need to be trained in using apps. I do. How would people get trained? Teachers get trained about using this, or that process?
So the way our process works is we actually do a faculty presentation to all teachers that are teaching the CU program or Connect You program, and we go through the curriculum and the process and the steps, how to use the Goal Hub, which is where goals and action items are created, how to go through the instructional design. It's really simple, and any teacher who has any experience, even a teaching assistant, would find that delivering this kind of information to kids is fairly intuitive. The whole system, the dashboard, all very intuitive. It doesn't take very much for anyone to learn how to use it, how to create goals. In fact, in less than 15 minutes, you can create a goal, an action item, and watch a couple of videos beforehand to get you started.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed with Matt and Corey, and we are talking to Dov Shapiro, the founder and CEO for the Connect You program, which is a learning solution designed for improving student well-being, particularly for ages 12 to 18. And, we need this more than ever at that particular age, Dov. So if I understand it correctly, ultimately it's got to go through the schools, right? And a school needs to come on board, whether it's at the school board, general level, or an individual school. Is that correct?
That's correct. We have a few schools in Montreal who are using the program now. We are piloting the program here in Quebec, and we do have a few spots open for schools that are interested to pilot the program. We also have schools in New Zealand, the UK, Australia, and hopefully California, I'll know next week, who will be piloting the program as well. So if anyone has interest, we have a couple of spots open, and we're happy to provide a software license to those schools.
Thank you so much, Dov, for all of this information. And we're talking with Dov Shapiro, founder and CEO of Connect You program, a learning solution designed for improving student well-being. How do people get a hold of you if they want to have their school take part?
info@connectyouprogram.com is the easiest and quickest way. info@connectyouprogram.com.
All right, Dov, thank you so much for taking some time on a Saturday to explain this wonderful educational tool, and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much for having me this Saturday afternoon, and I wish you all a very safe and healthy weekend.